Magdy viewers, as we promised earlier at the beginning of the show that we are going to talk about the public speaking and how to develop our skills for public speaking, for presentation. That would be our topic for discussion now with our dear guest in the studio, Mr. Abdo Magdy. He's public speaking coach. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Morning, Mr. Magdy. First, why are public speaking skills important for business executives?
Well, I think like every one of us would think that public speaking is a key skill for business executives and lots of other types of professions. I think for lecturers, for entrepreneurs, and especially for business executives, what you want to do in business is that you would like to leave a very positive impact. You would like to gain people's confidence in what you're promising and what you're like inspiring them to do. So all that makes public speaking a very, very important key skill for business leaders, executives, entrepreneurs, and lots of other professionals.
How do you teach the entrepreneurs or the business people, the employees, these skills? What are the steps needed in order to learn the basics for a good presentation, for a good communication and public skills?
Yeah, thank you for asking that, because that's the most frequent question that we get at Cairo Toastmasters Club, which is a club for public speaking. And most of the people who come for the first time, they want to have like a cheat sheet for public speaking. What do I have to do? And the answer to that is that public speaking is a learned skill, is that you have to like experience it. So the best way to learn public speaking is to actually deliver speeches. And there's a lot of experiences that's available in clubs like Toastmasters, for example, where you can prepare speeches, deliver, get feedback, and that's how you learn public speaking. Of course, it has to be outlines in things like preparing your speech, your body language, different other areas that you need to understand. But by then it becomes about experiencing the delivery and getting feedback and accordingly getting better in your public speaking skills. So short answer, probably you cannot teach public speaking. You're not going to learn public speaking by reading a book, but you have to be out there speaking to the people and inspiring them, getting feedback and learning from that.
How, Mr. Abdo? How can we do that as a coach? What are the most important tips that you give to your students or the people who are getting the course in order to do that? Because somehow it's in certain people it's inborn, it's in the character, for others it's not. So how can we reach that?
Yeah, I think that usually goes on a case-by-case basis, so it depends on the individual himself or herself. But the key guidelines is, and the key areas that people need to be ready with is self-confidence, is that people have to develop their own self-confidence through putting themselves out there to kind of be able to develop their skills. So first is having the readiness to actually deliver the speech and sit in front of people and deliver the speech. I think this is something that's where often people who need coaching needs to be pushed slightly to start giving more speeches. So one of the key areas is pushing people to deliver more speeches and to also reach bigger audiences. This is a key area. And afterwards it comes into things like their body language. You know, like there is a study that was being made analyzing what affects people while you're speaking. So if you're watching me talking right now and you're conceiving me, what is affecting the way that you're conceiving the speaker? And it turned out that 55% is about the way they move their body language, how they express themselves, their facial expressions, their hand movement, and all that. So 55% of the way people conceive you is about the way that you move your body while talking, and 38% is about the tone of voice. To what extent you're able to control your voice. You can get on a high pitch, on a lower pitch. You can get fast or slow. You can pause. So all these affects the way people perceive you, and only 7% for the words. So usually people worry a lot about what they are going to say, but rather the impact is often created by the way they move their body, the way they change their voice. So accordingly, some of the key areas for people to learn is the way they move their body. How do I move my body while speaking? My facial expressions, my hand gestures, and all that. And also using the voice. How do I alter my voice between a high pitch, a lower pitch, and all that. So readiness, pushing them, practicing the body language, getting more experience through delivering speeches, and then working on their voice.
So what are the things people should avoid while delivering a speech?
Yeah, I think there is a lot of common pitfalls that people fall under once you do that. The first is actually losing the audience at the first few seconds.
Yes.
If you're speaking with the audience, it's very important to set the frame. Is that if you kind of convey confidence and kind of articulate your entry right, I think that actually sets the frame for you for the rest of the speech to continue influencing them and keep them engaged and connected. So one of the biggest pitfalls is that people do not prepare an attractive entry or introduction to their speech. And accordingly, they lose the audience for the rest of the speech. Another area is structuring the speech itself, giving thought to the structure of the speech, of having an introduction, a middle, and an ending or a conclusion. So like thinking before you speak about the introduction, the content of your speech, and the conclusion is very important, and also to be prepared. Another area is rehearsal, is that if you're giving an important speech, for politicians, for example, they have to do lots of rehearsal before their important like talks. And for example, if you look at the presidential campaigns, they have coaches traveling with them while delivering their speeches all over.
Mr. Magdy, we have to ask here because certain people do have a charismatic skills by nature. When they start to talk, you are attracted to what they are saying, you are impressed. Others, they are not. They might be shy, they might lose their audience, for example, because somehow they are redundant, somehow the way of talking is not attractive. So how can I gain my audience? Not with what I'm saying, but with how I'm saying the content.
Yeah, I think that's very right. I think charisma seems like something that people are born with, but I would disagree slightly with this. I think charisma is something that can be developed with practice. So the answer
how do you practice that? Because to attract our audience, it's not somehow very easy a target here.
Yeah, I think when we analyze charisma and what charisma is about, big part about charisma is about the way that I perceive myself, which is about self-confidence, understanding myself, and understanding my limitations and my key areas of strength. So when people are pretty happy with themselves, they become more charismatic because you can see through them, through their energy, how they are expressing themselves.
Kind of interaction as well.
Exactly. So one way of looking at charisma is self-development and understanding yourself in order to become more charismatic. Once you understand yourself, you have to look at what people are looking for. So there is a key skill of cold reading, is reading the audience, understanding what the audience are expecting, what inspires this kind of audience, what this audience are looking for, and accordingly I address them with the language, with the thinking level that they would be more ready to understand and commit with.
So what are the basic principles of communication and public speaking?
Yeah, if I would set like basic principles, it would be understanding your audience. You have to understand the audience. You have to understand the environment in which that you're delivering the speech. You have to do preparations.
Yes.
You have to research, and especially if the topic has some dense content, you have to research your topic.
You mean that anyone can deliver a speech in a good way and attract audience, or only some people have this talent?
Well, some people do have more talent, so they are talented by nature, and some people can work in developing that. So we'd say that everyone can start developing their public speaking skills through finding the right environment to develop their speaking skills.
Mr. Magdy, some people do have a kind of shyness. They cannot speak in public. Even in a presentation in a university, they are not able to do that in a proper way because they are too shy, although they might have very good information to give or to deliver. So how they can overcome their shyness and to be more able to talk in public and to have eye contact and to have the guts to face the public or the people who are watching the presentation here?
Yeah, I think this is a very, very key point for everybody. We're not talking here about business executive, but for everyone, I think like for you to push yourself to deliver the speech and get better at public speaking, it's a very, very vital skill. What distinguishes successful people from not so successful people is the ability and the readiness to put themselves forward, even if they are not 100% ready, or they think that they are not 100% ready. So by then, the only solution to everyone who think that they have a level of shyness that's limiting them from getting out there and speaking is to be pushed slightly to give this first speech. That's why also in a club like Toastmasters, we have the first speech is called the icebreaker, because you're getting out there and you're breaking the ice. So everyone is shy at the first time they are delivering speech, but once you put yourself out there and you break the ice, by then you will be surprised by how fast your skill will develop in terms of public speaking. So just getting out there, pushing yourself to do public speaking and to speak, whether at your university, in your university project, and pushing yourself to do that, and also understanding the value from doing that. If you can present yourself well, well, then you're going to be a winner. There's a lot of people, as you said, who do have a lot of very high technical skills, but they cannot communicate that. And accordingly, they end up with lower career levels. They are not able to kind of climb the career ladder because they are not demonstrating the leadership and the ability to be in charge through their public speaking skills. So public speaking, presentation skills, it's about influence, it's about how people perceive you, and accordingly you have to work on that. And to work on that, you have to put yourself forward and you have to deliver the speeches. Even if you think you're shy, you will have to break this with time.
And to what extent the positive thinking reflects in your speech and give you more confidence?
100%. Positive thinking about yourself and about the topic is actually what puts you out there. If you're confident about, like, if you're going out there and thinking that I'm going to do it, you're definitely going to do it better. I have an interesting story when I was at university, is that our professor I was studying engineering, our professor would ask us some pretty complex questions in engineering and math and all that. And usually most people come to the stage or like to the podium pretty much hesitant about the technicality of the matter. While my technical skills was not really that high, but I go out there and I speak very confidently and I try just to make statements about all these equations out there. And surprisingly, the professor did like that. So he likes the fact that you're kind of thinking about it, you're trying to solve it. So even if my technical level is not to the same level of others who might be more technically aware, by conveying that you're confident, you're trying to solve it, you're thinking in a structured way, all this communicates to the other that this is someone that I would like to be in an interaction with.
Indeed.
So it makes a lot of difference. Once you convey yourself this way, you're going to find people wanting to work with you, they want to hire you, and they want to kind of engage with you and listen to your speeches and all that.
Indeed. Mr. Abdo Magdy, public speaking coach, thank you very much, sir, for your first input and for your very important tips. And have a lovely morning. Thank you very much for being our guest.
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Abdo. And now, dear viewers, this was the end of today's edition of Breakfast Show. See you tomorrow with a new crew. Bye.